and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ceremonial Witchcraft. I am your host, Corey LeBlanc, and I am happy to be here. Now, tonight's episode isn't going to be really an episode. I'm going to play some Jordan Peterson, a video he goes into a little bit about Hitler and a couple other concentration camps that we don't know about through what you learn through the fucking Archipelago. What the fuck is it called? One moment there. Sorry, everybody. I should have been more prepared. It's Gulag Archipelago. And I'm also going to take the opportunity, since I'm playing Jordan Peterson, obviously I'll put the YouTube links that I got for these videos I'm playing from, and I'm going to put his books, the 12 Rules to Life, Chaotic Whatever, Maps of Meeting, and a few other things I found, PDFs of Jordan Peterson's work. So there should be about 4 or 5 PDFs on here, one being the Gulag Archipelago, which I just finished reading, and it's awesome and fascinating. Can't really say awesome, but well, you'll see when you read it. But yeah, and I just started reading Maps of Meeting. I don't know why I decided to do that first, but then I'm going to be moving on to the 12 Rules by Jordan Peterson. So yeah, I'm going to put these on here after I say what I have to say and after I play who I have to play. So yeah, in my last episode, in the first part of my video, I talked about how, Birch talked about World War II and how the U.S. Great Depression affected the whole world and all that, which is true. But I also stated the fact that Germany went through a world depression. First inflation, because we had inflation in the States and in Canada, which is kind of like, a very basic version of it. It's like your milk at your corner store. So let's say back then, which I don't even think it was $1, but if it was $1 for the 3 or 4 liters of milk, well, during war times, whenever, or after war times, or when people started having money issues, they would inflate the price to what it is now, let's say $4 or $5. Just because they know people needed it, but these people were taking advantage of the fact that people needed stuff. And I know in Canada, anyways, we made inflation illegal. But anyways, so inflation, he talks about inflation, and, he talks about how they had to pay for all their war crimes and all this and that. Like I said before, too, what I learned was Austria-Hungary was the first one to declare war in World War I. But they got knocked out of the war earlier, and Germany was the last man standing, but essentially lost, and they had to pay all those war crimes back. But anyways, it goes into depth on that, so I just thought it was important to play. Once again, I'm not saying this is true or false. I learned this in school, so it could be argued that this is false. Coming from Jordan Peterson, who also learns everything from university and teaches university, you can also argue that, he's very well learned, but is the shit he learned accurate or not? Who the fuck's to know? And I think that's where I like magic and esoteric, because it's not necessarily what's real or fake or facts or historically correct. It's about what resonates with you, or not so much always resonates with you in the I agree with that kind of way. Some things you read are uncomfortable and go against your beliefs, but on some level it's to be true and stuff like that. And when you decode it with esoteric knowledge, when you take the Bible, like I said, and the way Jordan Peterson breaks down the Bible as symbolism, that's how we should be taking these books, and we shouldn't be actually taking any books literally, even if they are literal. You can still use symbolic meaning in true stories and whatnot, But anyways, before I play the Jordan Peterson stuff and get to working on putting all those links to the PDFs on here, I just wanted to go into what I was talking about last time. I wanted to talk about how to find your passion and purpose. And if you were starting your initiation and you didn't really know what your passion and purpose was, and I wasn't saying that was a bad thing or a good thing. I personally think that's a good thing, because it's hard to know what your passion and purpose is whenever you are going through the initiation, when you just basically opened your root chakra and you just realized everything is bullshit that you've been taught, and you're trying to figure out what's real and what's fake, and you finally found a magical system, or an East yogi system, or prana, or chi, or Qui-Gon, whatever you're using, whether it's Apollo, Santeria, or it's using different Norse mythologies or heathenism, whatever it is. You found that works for you. Any kind of witchcraft, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Ceremonial magic doesn't matter. whatever you decided to do, whether or not you're going to stick with that, if you're going to branch out, if you're going to keep all these bags of tricks like Birch does, or you're eventually going to leave it all together. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you start somewhere, you know. And if you're starting your initiation, you're doing the banishings, you're doing the groundings, you know, you're setting intentions on your temples to picking deities and all that. That's great. Keep doing that. It'll eventually help you get the mental clarity, because once you clear your mental clutter out, which is kind of the point I was trying to get at, and I never think I said, maybe I did say, but you're kind of organizing your thoughts, because to me the way it works, I've often used the phrase, if we change the word thoughts with spirits, then it might help people banish the negative thoughts faster or better or more accurate, and stop forgetting to do this exercise. They'll realize that all the thoughts around them are kind of like spirits. And I don't mean that, I mean, you can take that whatever way you want, whichever way works for you is kind of what I want you to do with that. And I'm not here to tell you that there's actually evil and good forces around you all the time. However, you know, the whole little conscious, the person's conscious, you know, the good conscious, the bad conscious on their shoulders in the movies kind of paints that picture like that. We have internal self-talk, we have internal dialogue, we have internal conflicts. Are they really internal or are they external? Because the thoughts come from outside of us, and it's only an internal conflict once we accept something that maybe doesn't resonate with our programming. You know, and if we accept something so many times, eventually we're going to create programming, which is called a habit, to be able to work out that negative or positive thought that we accepted all those times. That's how affirmations work. You keep saying an affirmation about how you want to become rich over and over again, and you're programming your body saying, no, Corey, you're not meant to be rich. No, Corey, you grew up realizing that your parents don't get to be rich, and neither do you. You grew up believing that the Bible said you're never going to be rich, or being rich is bad, blah, 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 blah. But if you keep saying it over and over and over and over again, eventually your body is going to have to banish and get rid of the old program and create a new program for it. Now, it would be a hell of a lot faster to do magical ritual, especially during like a waning moon phase, to banish out your programming, whether it's religious programming or just the fact that you've seen your family, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents go through poverty all their life. Well, you banish all that out of your head, saying that was them and that's not me. All that programming was put into my mind against my will, without my consent. And I now replace it with the programming that I am willing to have a high financial set point, and am worth more than I make, but I make six figures or something, whatever you want to work it out. Make sure you don't put negative speech in there like I do not accept. It's going to be like, it turns out to be I accept. Or I do accept, basically. So, but that was the point I wanted to get at, that it was circular. It doesn't matter which starts first. A lot of people say your emotion dictates your thoughts, and some people say your thoughts dictate your emotion, and I believe it's a circle. I use, just for example, hypothetical, but speculate. I don't know, maybe I was speculating. It doesn't matter. I use thoughts being first, because, you know, the first law is mentalism. All is mind. All starts in the mind to God, basically. You know, so. But if you're having negative thoughts coming into your head, okay, you're banishing, but they just keep coming because you're still in that negative state. Well, you can try one of two things. Banish that negative thought and then accept a positive thought. You do that over and over again, and maybe that positive thought will finally take and put you into a positive vibration / emotion, or just try to put yourself into a positive emotion. You know, try to go into that meditative state where you're not thinking about anything, or you're thinking about just one maybe positive thing, maybe it's a question, whatever it is, one thing, and while you're in there, you're using positive emotions, and by positive, I mean positivity. Anytime I'm saying positive, I mean positivity. I'm not meaning like positive ions or negative ions. It's a mistake I make often, not my spell work, because I always catch it there, but when talking, because a lot of people associate those words, so I use those words, but I shouldn't, because I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. Therefore, I should always explain over and over again the do's and don'ts, and why not to do that, because, you know, I could have new listeners listening and being like saying, okay, I banish negativity and I invoke positivity, and that'll kill you. That'll give you disease and kill you, because positive ions are Wi-Fi radiation, you know, what's coming off the computer screen. It's too much sun can give you that, you know, and negative ions are what come from the earth that heal you. But once again, but I don't know if I could do that as a job, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things I'd love to do, but it doesn't mean that's my passion. And that's why you don't go with just Venus, and that's why you don't just go with Mars. You go from somewhere between the both. It's not just what do I love to do or what I'm passionate about, it's a mixture of both. You know, and I would also take into account that's male and female. You should also take into account your air and your water. Where are those signs in your chart? You know, what's going on there? You know, you're taking a Venus and you're taking a Mars. Well, then you can get to pick the other two. You want to pick the moon, or you want to pick Jupiter, or you want to pick the sun and or Saturn. You know, picking them all, using them all, and coming into play would be a great way to look at this. But generally speaking, there's certain houses that deal with what you should do for a living, what you love, and shit like that. And there are certain planets to do that. So if for some reason your houses have to do with your job overlap and have the planets in there that have to do with your love and your passion, you know what I mean? Well, then it'll be kind of clear cut in your chart what you're supposed to do. But if you don't want to go that route, that's fine too. But you start off the right way. Get your self-talk under control. Get your conscious mind under control. Get that link to the subconscious under control, so you can ask your subconscious to help reveal to you what you already know, but right now isn't clear or you can't figure out. And that is what you should be doing in life. What's your passion? What's your purpose? Because a lot of people just don't ask. They expect to get into this path. They do everything the book says, but they never actually ask the questions they want. They don't actually ask for money or help or healing. They just assume they have it and they keep going along their way, and then nothing ever happens and they give up. And that's not what I want anybody to do. So understanding that it's a circle, and the best way, shadow work is dealing with those negative thoughts. Okay, so I believe part of shadow work is doing this banish, reject, deny thing. It's kind of something I forgot to say last time. Okay, banish, reject, deny, something everybody should be doing all the time. But during your shadow period, you have to embrace and go into the darkness of yourself. Realize how dangerous you can be. Realize what's holding you back. Realize your fears, okay? Because every time, a certain time, a month or whatever, you get to a place where you are before this place, you're super happy all the time, but then all of a sudden you get pretty down on yourself, and it's because you're not dealing with whatever that is, whatever that demon is, whatever it is you're postponing working on. So you just keep putting on stuff that you agree with, stuff that you like over and over again, and you just try to stay in this positive state, which is great. If you're being bombarded with negative thoughts, then yeah, if the only thing you can do, or the best thing you can do in that moment, especially if you're somewhere not at home ready to deal with the shadow stuff around your kid's baseball or hockey game, then yeah, try to change your emotions so your thoughts change. But once you get home and the kids are in bed and all that, it's time to open up and deal with what's going on. Get to the root of the problem. Let the tears come out. Let yourself be vulnerable. You're by yourself, there's nobody else around, and for some reason you can't do that, you just can't do it, you might need to look into some doctor help therapy. Now, I believe in just going online and using Reiki for certain things like this. Like I said before, Luna Innate is the first person I ever went to. There's another man on there, and I can't think of his name, but I'm going to put him on here, or at least put a link on here in one of these videos one of these days, so you guys can go check them out. But there's a bunch of different Reiki videos for whatever you want, and some of them are positive, some are negative, some are for sleeping, some of them are for cutting dark shadows, for getting rid of the evil eye, getting rid of attachments and love with other people, stuff like that. So do some of that if you can't afford to go to a shrink. Do some self-hypnosis to relieve some of the issues you have. Type in self-hypnosis, whatever it is you think you need to deal with that's part of your shadow work or whatever. Listen to those over and over at night, and then it might be easier for you to deal with. Things might come up to the surface and all that. There's a lot of free techniques you can do. All you have to do is brainstorm and figure out what you need to do, because all psychiatrists, psychologists are going to do is ask you all the information surrounding this thing, and they're only going to be able to help you if you're honest. So if you're not honest, you're wasting your money. But if you're not honest, you're better off than just do it by yourself if you're too embarrassed to tell people these things. But they're there to help you, and they don't give a shit what you did. Their job is there because they like to fix things, they like to help people, and they like to solve puzzles. So don't be embarrassed about what puzzle you're giving them. If you think it's weird and you think it's something you never heard of, odds are they have, to some extent, have already dealt with that. And if they haven't, it's going to be great for them because they're going to be so motivated to help you and so into it. So I would get rid of that reservations. Now, I'm sure there's exceptions to the rules. I'm sure there's some psychologists, psychiatrists that are doing it that realize it wasn't their passion, but they're too lazy or too, scared to try something else. They got to pay their bills. But if you find you have somebody like that, well, then just switch. Yeah, it'll suck if you had to pay an additional amount for your consultation, and then have to do it again. But don't stay with somebody you don't resonate with. Take the laws, do some Reiki things, do some self-hypnosis things, read a couple books about psychology, psychiatry, self-hypnosis. I put a bunch of self-hypnosis or hypnosis books on the last video I put out. Some of them are hypnosis and NLP. I think I put about 5 books there. So go check that out. It's going to be pretty good and helpful for you. But yeah, so I think the banishing, rejecting, and denying thing is a huge part of the shadow work, and it's very beneficial. But I'm not telling you to ever accept your negative thoughts, but by having these negative thoughts come over and over again, maybe write them down and then banish them. Write them down and then banish them. And then when you're in this place to be able to, no one's around, and you can actually dig into, why is this thought banishing? Why is this thought that I have to keep rejecting, denying, and banishing? Why does it keep coming up? What is it tied to? It's a good question to meditate on, And then from there, you can start digging into your own dark psyche. And that's, truth be told, that's one of the reasons this is probably happening. One of the reasons we banish, reject these thoughts is because we're trying to organize it. Your subconscious mind picks up everything, and it's picking up these things. Whether it knows if it's good or bad, I don't think it does know the difference between good and bad. To be honest, I think it's only us, and I think good and bad depends on the person. Your own personal scale of good and bad. But I think it just because the subconscious is kind of connected with everybody, so everybody has a different view of good and bad. First of all, somebody who likes kids, that's going to be good. Somebody who doesn't like kids, well, having kids would be bad. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So our subconscious are all linked because that's our link to the divine. And technically our subconscious mind is like the divine mind as well. It's not the universal unconscious. That's kind of a different thing. But our subconscious minds or unconscious minds are all kind of connected to each other. That's how we perform magic. Perform magic by affecting our subconscious mind, which internally affects all the other subconscious mind closest to you, and then it affects change through that, whether you're trying to get money. And I used that person from the Brinks truck leaving 30 grand on top of the Brinks truck, got a phone call from his wife, whatever, buddy forgot to come in and check, the next person went in, never looked up, all these things happened because their subconscious mind made sure that no one else, that guy didn't remember he left 30 grand there, the other guy didn't go check, the next person in there didn't look up, and it wasn't until the person that was meant to grab it, for whatever reason, found it. You know what I mean? So this banish, deny, reject is super, uber important. Now, once you get past there and you start having ideas, asking questions, writing it down before you go to bed, all the things you think might be your passion, and asking which one of these would be the best for me to start with, or how can I do something I'm passionate about? What do I need to do to help my passion along? If you figure out what your passion is, okay, well then you need to figure out what steps you need to take to accomplish becoming and doing your passion to provide service to others, or whatever the case may be, or if that's even an option. So you need to start asking questions to that effect, or doing sigils, or doing candle magic to that effect, and the littler the spells are, the more easier they'll manifest for you, and then you'll have something to see if it works or not. I think this is why, though, you don't do manifestations, or not supposed to, during your initial neophyte grade, because you can be very impulsive and try to go for the gusto, the big fucking money, when really you should be casting for a way to continuously receive money, for a business, for a specific job, for something artistic or something that is unique to you, you know what I mean? And then the money will just come, and then you're not just asking for money. You've got something that's sustainable and you can continue to get money, but it's circular. I believe the thoughts or spirits that are around us, we pick them up depending on if we're in positive or a negative vibration, whether I used a metaphor, the simile AM and FM, AM being negative and FM being positive, or you can do vice versa. So if you're on AM, well, you're not going to get FM stations. FM stations would be the thoughts that are around you, but once you put on the FM station or FM setting, then all the FM stations can come in. Now, depending on how far the radio station is, some will come in if you drive towards them, some of them won't come in at all. You only get the local ones. And that's kind of how magic works. Whenever if you want something big, well, you need to put forth more action. So you kind of have to drive closer to that town where that radio station is broadcast. That's putting forth the action. Now, if you're doing something small, then you probably won't have to do much action whatsoever, and it still will come to you. But if you're in that AM vibration and you're trying to get an FM affirmation / magic to work for you, well, it's not going to come in. So you need to banish those thoughts, reject, deny those thoughts, and come into a happy vibration. The longer you can be in the same vibrational emotion that your manifestation is, then the faster you'll get it. Now, Frater Xavier talks about having to be able to have the form, because you can fake force. Force and form are the two things you need to have. One is pretending to be in the emotion of winning, whatever it is you're winning, seeing it, visualizing it, and all that. So that to me is a little, because I act as if I already have it, and I use emotions like when I'm very happy or teared up from a movie or whatever the case is throughout my day. If anything gets me a little choked up and I'm very emotional but happy, I start thinking about my manifestation, and it generally works. And it's not necessarily tied to the same thing, but I'm still in a very happy emotional state. And that magnetism, that my heart, electromagnetism, my heart's pumping, is pulling my thing towards me, like a magnet pulls whatever it wants, or it pushes away if it's the magnet of the same thing. But anyways, so I think that's going to be enough for today. I just wanted to reiterate that it's a circle, right? The thoughts that you pick up and you accept or deny, either go back into your subconscious, or that you consciously accept them, and then you're going to start playing it out, basically. But it all comes from the stuff you've seen from a child to right up to now. And the order they come out, I don't know. I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is if you have old programming in you that you haven't got rid of yet, then you're going to keep having thoughts that are in line with that. So the faster you get rid of that programming, the faster you won't have to banish those thoughts over and over and over and over and over and over again. It can be kind of tedious. So work smarter, not harder. And that's kind of what I want to say here. Anyways, I'm going to go to the Jordan Peterson clip thing. Bunch of PDFs about him are going to be on there, plus the Gulag Archipelago. I hope everybody enjoyed. Have a great fucking day.
Summation of the world situation, and really the world psychological situation at the end of the 1800s, and that was that our new modes of thinking had undermined our faith in our old modes of thinking, and that was a problem because people need something firm to stand on, to orient themselves, and to move forward. And so Nietzsche and Dostoevsky basically both prophesied that the consequence of that dissolution would be increased probability of nihilism and everything that went along with that. And Dostoevsky wrote about that actually quite extensively in a book called Notes from Underground, which if any of you are interested, especially in clinical psychology, that's a book you should really read, because it's one of the most brilliant psychological studies of a psychologically disturbed man that's ever been written. It's very accurate, and there are sections in Crime and Punishment that are like that too. I think they're unsurpassed in their representation of psychological phenomena. I don't know how he managed it. I mean, Dostoevsky was epileptic. I don't know if you know that, but he was arrested by the Tsar's men in the late 1800s for being a student radical. And they threw him in the main prison in Moscow. And then one day they took him out in front of a firing squad and shot him at 6 in the morning. But they only used blanks, which of course he didn't know about. And that scared him so badly he developed epilepsy. And then he had epilepsy. That can happen, by the way. And then he had epilepsy for the rest of his life. But he had this strange kind of epilepsy, which is actually not all that rare. Sometimes when people have epilepsy, they experience this phenomena they call an aura, which is an altered state of consciousness before the epileptic seizure hits. And they can be very strange, these auras. So I read a case study once about a guy who, his aura was that his hand was being possessed by devils from hell. And he could feel the possession move up his arm and into his shoulder. And once it hit his head, he'd have an epileptic seizure. And so then there was another case where this man, his aura was that his exact double had appeared behind him. But if he turned to look, then he'd have an epileptic seizure. But if he didn't turn to look, then he wouldn't. So these, brain disorders are very strange things because they're, the system that is disordered is alive and it's capable of any number of extraordinarily peculiar misbehaviors. Anyways, Dostoevsky's aura was a world-revealing aura. And so what Dostoevsky would experience was that the meaning of things got deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then just as he was on the verge of discovering the secret to everything, he'd have an epileptic seizure. But he said that the quality of experience during the aura was so high, so overpowering and so deep that he would have traded all of his normal experience just to have had those experiences, and he had them repeatedly. And I really do believe that it was this broadening of his vision and concept by his epilepsy that transformed him, among other things. I mean, he went through some pretty damn rough experiences because he was in prison with rapists and murderers for a long time in Siberia, even though he was kind of an aristocratic guy. I mean, he had a rough time of it. And I imagine that also broadened him tremendously, given that it didn't kill him. But I really do believe that the epileptic insight was key to his unsurpassed genius. And so, his aura, and other people do experience epileptic aura symptoms like that, by the way, and some people are so enamored of the aura that they won't take their anti-epilepsy medication because they don't want to forego the experience that precedes the aura, or the actual epileptic seizure. So, Dostoevsky's experiences, the awe element of the aura, is also relevant to what we're going to talk about today, because both Binswanger and Boss were very interested in how meaning revealed itself in the world, and they had opposing explanations. I actually think they're parallel explanations, but the meaning that Dostoevsky experienced is an amplification of the normal manner in which meaning reveals itself in the world. So, I mean, and people experience that sort of thing in various altered states of consciousness. Anyways, Binswanger and Boss, so they worked mostly in the 1950s, and as I said, they were very concerned about what had happened in World War II, and so Dostoevsky and Nietzsche had basically predicted that it was going to be nihilism or ideological totalitarianism, and that's basically exactly what happened. And by the time the 1930s appeared on the horizon, the Germans had been, they'd gone through an absolutely brutal First World War, and then they went through hyperinflation of insane proportions. So in the 1920s, Germany underwent this partly because they had such heavy war debts to pay for World War I. The German inflation got to the point where it was literally upwards of 100 million marks to buy a loaf of bread. So they were taking wheelbarrows full of money to the grocery stores. What happened was their currency devalued to zero. And, that actually happens to economies more often than you might think. So the thing just hits zero, and that's that. And then it has to be rebooted, so to speak. So the war was dreadful, and hundreds of thousands of men were killed or brutalized. Then their economy just absolutely fell apart. And then, of course, at the same time, a little bit earlier, the revolution had taken place in Russia, right at the end of the First World War, and the communists had come to power, and the communists were agitating all over Europe and in North America, and their goal was to produce a communist revolution that was worldwide. And so the Germans were all shorted out that the communists were going to take over the country, which was a perfectly reasonable fear. And instead of that, what happened was that fascism arose, and fascism was a form of state totalitarianism. And I think the Germans were so desperate for order by that point and that's what the fascists basically offered them, at least in theory. Unfortunately, as it turned out, they offered them a little bit too much order, or maybe a lot too much order, and things went dreadfully south. But, so then the whole world had to walk through the horrors of World War II, and it was shocking in a variety of ways, not only because of the brutality of the warfare, but because of the genocidal actions that took place consciously by the Nazis. And those actions were, in many ways, very difficult to understand. Here's why they're particularly difficult to understand. There were certainly times where the brutality that the Nazis employed in their eradication of their theoretical enemies far surpassed the necessity for the mere eradication, but even worse than that. So it went past eradication into real torture constantly. And not only that, there are many situations in which the Nazis, especially near the end of the war, they had to decide really whether they were going to continue exterminating Jews and gypsies and homosexuals and all the people they felt didn't fit into their culture, or whether they were going to win the war. And there were decisions they had to make about the distribution of resources, where if they were going to pursue the genocidal extermination, that would mean it would decrease the probability that they would win the war. And that happened a lot, especially at the end, and the Nazis always picked continuing the extermination. Now, that's pretty damn interesting, because you can think, well, on the one hand, if they are serving a creed, and the creed is world domination, and this is the extermination processes are considered a step towards the actual end point, which is the establishment of a world state, a fascist world state, or at least a fascist European state, then you would think that the extermination attempts would be subordinate to that goal if they were actually pursuing the goal that they said they were pursuing. But, there's an old psychoanalytic idea which is really worthwhile. It's like a surgical tool, and I would say if you're going to use it in your own life, use it carefully, because you don't want to do unnecessary surgery. And the rule is, and I think this is...
When you find something you're passionate about that you could love to do,